So, welcome to another Tech Talk session for 2021. Today, I'm going to talk about Ruby. So, I think all of you guys have heard about it, and I think some of you guys have may have worked on it. However, I'm going to deliver a brief overview or introduction about Ruby. So, uh, this is the outline for the today's presentations. So first, I'm going to do a brief introduction about Ruby, and then I'm going to talk about the origin, the purpose, and why should we choose Ruby over any other programming language, and what are the programming construct of Ruby and OOP mixins, and last, Ruby 3 features. Ruby is an interpreted high-level general-purpose programming language, which focuses on simplicity and also the productivity. So Ruby originated in Japan, and but now it's gaining popularity in US and Europe as well. So, as I said before, it was created in 1993 by Yukihiro Matsumoto. He's a Japan programmer, and the programming language is influenced by the other programming languages such as Smalltalk, Perl, Lisp, and Python. Their first version was released in 1995, and then after releasing many versions, so their last version was released in last year, I think, the Christmas day. So when Mark's developing this programming language, his main purpose was the happiness and joy of the programmer, because back in 90s, computers are really slow, so the most of the programming language designers tend to focus on the efficiency, but Marx wanted to focus on the human or programmer. So the objective of Ruby's development was to make it act as a sensible buffer between human programmers and the underlying computing machinery. But now Ruby is used for writing software in a wide variety of application domains, such as simulation, 3D modeling, and also for robotics. So there are like range of programming languages available. So instead of that, why should we choose Ruby or learn Ruby or over any other language? Is first thing is it's a pure object-oriented language. So everything appears to be in Ruby as an object, as a blocks, but there are replacements for it also, and it has interesting design decisions compared to Java. And Ruby allows programmers to do things fast, and it also easy to learn. So actually Ruby, the syntax is similar to C and Java, so it's easy for a programmer who worked on Java or C to learn quickly, and it supports mostly all the platforms like Windows, Mac, and Linux, and the syntax is like quite like English, like human readable. So that's another thing, and so it's open source, so everything is free. So, and as most other programming languages, Ruby offers a wide set of third-party libraries. So most of them are released in form of gem. So Ruby gem is like a package manager for the Ruby programming language that provide a standard format for distributing Ruby programs and libraries. And Another thing is Ruby on Rails. So I think all of you guys know it. It's a powerful web development framework. So that is the reason why should we choose or learn Ruby. So installing Ruby is really easy. You have to put Ruby installer org and you can download any version you want. And most of the Ruby programmers like recommend RubyMine as the IDE, so you can download it if you want in JetBrains. So as programming constructs, I'm going to talk about the data types, loops and conditions, methods and error handling. Ruby has 6 data types. There are strings, numbers, Boolean, arrays, and hashes. Boolean, arrays, hashes, and symbols. So I'll quickly show you how to declare these data types. So to print something, if you want to print something, it's like you can use either put keyword or print keyword. It's okay whether you use you can use anything. Anything means if it's a print. As this is a dynamic programming language, so you don't have to declare the data type. So and integers and floats are the two main kinds of numbers that Ruby can handle with. So here I declare an integer and this is an float. Boolean is like syntax is same like the other programming language, and here I use it with the if-else condition. When you talk about the arrays, Ruby array can store multiple data types. So as you can see here, this array contain strings, floats, booleans, and integer. So to print an array, either you can do through it, or you can use this puts syntax to print the elements. And then the hash. This is a hash. This hash can store key value pairs as any other language. So this is the key. This is the value. So to assign a value to the key, you have to use equal sign and greater than sign together. So here, what I have done is loop through this hash table to print this key and value. And the other data type is symbols. So symbols are kind of a lighter form of strings. So they are processed by a column. Like here, this is a symbol. So this symbol has a value of apple. So symbols are used instead of strings. So because they take less memory space and have a better performance. So I'm not going to run this code. So it's like printing all this data. So I move to the next slide. In Ruby, Ruby has 4 types of loops. So they are while, for, do, while, and until. They are like much as the same as the other programming language. So I'm not going to demonstrate that. But here I add code snippet for the until loop. Talk about the conditions. Ruby can have if else, unless, and case statement and conditions. So here I add an unless condition code snippet. So I'm not going to demonstrate that. So Ruby methods are quite like similar to functions, but they have like special concepts. They are Ruby block, procs, and lambda. So I will demonstrate these three concepts. So Ruby block consists of block consists of like chunks of code, whatever you want in this block. So you have to assign a name to this block. So here I assign the name is test. So so the code inside this block has to be enclosed with this curly brackets. So like inside the brackets, so you can write down any code you want. So so the block is always invoked from a method with the same name as that of the block. So my method name is test. So so you have to name this block and the method name as same if you want to invoke this block inside your method. So to invoke the block, so you have to use yield statement. So I use yield statements 2 times inside my method. So if I run this, so you can see in the 2 times I use yield statements, it's print the print statement inside this block. So that's how you can use block. So why should we use, like, what's the use of this block is it's useful because it allows you to save the logic and use it later, but use multiple times, and you can keep things concise and understandable for any other programmer who want to read your program. And to create Mulligan code with this using these blocks, and especially it's really useful when you iterate list in Rails. So that's the use of this block. So the next concept is Lambda. So so Lambda is a way to define a block and its parameters with some special syntax. So I'll show you how to declare Lambda. So so difference between this block and Lambda is so you can save this Lambda into a variable for later use. So and to define a Lambda, you have to use this dash with the greater than sign. So you can write the code like as the same as the block. You can write this the code that you want inside the Lambda in between these brackets. So you can call Lambda using the variable name and the call syntax, and you can use brackets, square brackets, and 3 equal signs to call this Lambda. So here I put arguments inside the Lambda. Okay, it's the this is all for the Lambda, and procs is the other one. So if you want to pass like two blocks to your method, so you can use procs. So proc objects are blocks of code that you have been bound to set to local variables. So I'll show you how to declare proc. So special thing about this proc is like proc doesn't care about like the arguments. So here I have some parameters, but it's run without an error because it really doesn't care about these arguments. So the difference between about procs and lambda is how they react to return statement. So in lambda, return mean exit from this lambda, but in procs, return means exit from this embracing method. So I'll show you the different. In here, I don't use any method, but this is my lambda. This is the proc. So if I run this, what happened was only it returned from the lambda because even I didn't use a method. Even I didn't use this proc inside a method, it doesn't return this because proc is always to return from the current context, not the top level context. So I show you the proc inside the method so you can understand it properly. So in here I use here's my method. So in here I use the proc, so it doesn't get to the fifth line because my proc has a return statement. So what happened was it like exit from this whole method, so it doesn't get to this fifth line. It's only in this second line before proc only. So that's all for this proc and the special concepts in Ruby method. Let's move on to the presentation. So to Ruby provide a nice mechanism to handle exceptions. So you can use these three clauses for handling. So you can use raise to raise an exception, rescue to tell Ruby the types of exception you want to handle, and retry can be used to go for the beginning. So I'll show you how to use these raise and rescue clauses together. I'll quickly go through this code. Here I have a class no even numbers, and it was inherited by standard error class, and So every time you initialize, it's going to accept to get an array, and it's also going to have an actual message. So array is accessible via this attribute accessor. So so in here I have even numbers method. So if this parameter array if is not an array, so it will raise argument error. So you can use this raise clause anywhere you want. So and if the this array length is equals to 0, it will raise a standard error exception. And then in here what happened is we check that if there are any even numbers, if there are any I'll assign this to even array. If the even array length is equal to 0, it means there are no even numbers inside the provided array. So if you want to like use this rescue clause, you have to use this between begin and rescue. So everything from begin and rescue is protected. So if an exception occurs during within these two clauses, in here what happened was so the exception was so exception was assigned to this variable, and then so whatever you want to happen, what exception occurs, you have to write between this rescue and enroll. So this in here what I did was I print down the error class, error message, and the array that I provided. So the array I provided is doesn't contain any even numbers, so it has to be raise this no even numbers exception. Let's see. Okay, so you can do put anything you want to do, either a message or anything. If they if any exception is occurred, so that's how you can use rescue and raise clause together. So I'm not going to demonstrate how to use the retry. So Ruby is an object-oriented programming language. So it can have the object-oriented concepts, encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, and inheritance. The special thing about this was, so in Ruby, you can achieve polymorphism using inheritance and also from duck typing. So I'm not going to demonstrate the other like encapsulation, how to achieve that. It's like same as the other languages, but I will demonstrate like how to achieve polymorphism using duck typing. So in here, I have three classes, hotel, single, and couple. So I create an object from hotel class. So and also I created a customer object. So customer object plays a role in working with the properties of the customer, such as type and and room. So in here we doesn't like use any like inheritance methods, but the same thing happens in poem present is achieved. So this is how you can achieve this. So it's like hotel has these three methods, and the single and couple also has like the type and room method. So like that you can like achieve polymorphism instead of using inheritance. And another thing in another thing in Ruby is that mixing, because unlike other object-oriented programming languages, in Ruby, you can't achieve multiple inheritance. However, you can achieve it by using modules and mixins. So I'll show you how the mixin is work. So module is something like grouping together the methods and classes, something you can have in Ruby. So you have to use this include keyword to embed the module into a class. So if the module is defined in a separate file, you have to use require statement to include that file before you embedding it, the module to an class. So here I have three classes, and each and every one contains this A1, A2, A3 methods. So in this parent class, I include these three modules. So and I create an object from the parent class, and I call all of these methods inside the modules. So it's like this parent class inherited from all these modules. So that's how you can achieve multiple inheritance in Ruby using modules. Like that. So that's all for the demo. So I'm on to the presentation. So as I mentioned at the beginning, Ruby released their latest version last year, Christmas Day. So their goal is to performance, concurrency, and typing. So they achieved it. So according to maths, so Ruby 3 will be 3 times faster than Ruby 2. So that's why it's known as Ruby 3 into 3. And it has CPU optimization and memory optimization. So So talk about the parallelism and concurrency. So it's a multi-core age these days today. So concurrency is really important. So with Reactor and along with Fiber, so Ruby will be able to will be a real concurrent language. So Reactor is an actor model like concurrency abstraction designed to provide a parallel execution feature without thread safety concerns. And so you can make multiple reactors and you can run them in parallelly. So the fiber scheduler is introduced for interrupting blocking operation, so intercepting blocking operations. So and this this allows for lightweight concurrency without changing existing code. So and the other thing is the other goal is static analysis. So even this language is a dynamic language. Most of the programmers tend to use static analysis for analyze their code. So what happens in RBS is it's a language to describe the types of Ruby programs. So type checkers include typeprof and other tools supporting RBS will understand Ruby programs, which is like much better with RBS definition. So yeah, so you can write down the definition of classes and modules, methods, defining class variables and their types, and also like inheritance and mixing. So in typeprof, typeprof is like it's like a type analysis tool bundled in the Ruby package. So like currently typeprof serves as a kind of type of inference. So it reads plain Ruby code and analyzes what methods are defined and how they are used, and generates a prototype of type signature in RBS format. So I must say that still these fibers and reactors are in experimental stage. So that are the main features with the Ruby 3 release. So that's all for the presentation. So thank you everyone for listening. If anyone have any questions, you can. So it seems like no one have any questions. So so these are the references I used to create this presentation. So if anyone is interested in, can follow up. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Asangika.
Thanks, Arun.
Thanks, Asangika.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.